The one thing I want to speak about is life and how short life is, right? Because we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we can plan for our future. We can have a plan, right? And that's what I've done. So, here in Prestige Wealth Investments, it allowed me to secure my child's future. I don't know if you guys know, but my daughter is now 16 years old and she is about to finish school next year. She's in matric and she will finish school. And it means that I have to have money for her to go and study. It means that I have to have money for her when she finishes school to support her for a little while she's studying, and maybe to buy her first car or things like that, right? So, or her licensing and whatever the case is. Now, how many of us are actually planning and preparing for this? Because we sometimes get so caught up in our day to day struggles or in our day to day jobs and things like that, and month to month bills, and we just continue to pay those bills and whatever the case is, and we don't actually know what's going to happen when our kids actually finish school, which path they're going to take, what are they going to uh, study, are they going to study, where are they going to study, how much do we need to have, right? Because every what can I say, every child has a different path or a different dream or a different goal for themselves, right? And why I say this is because when I think about my life story and I don't think any of you guys know this, but a few years ago, I lost my younger sister. She was only 26 years old. She just collapsed and she passed on, right? She had a blood clot in her brain, which we did not know about. She complained about headaches for years. She never went and checked it out. And that was a devastating time for us as a family, or for all of us, right? But one of the things that I remember so clearly about her is that she was sitting at the table the one day and she said to me that her biggest dream was to become a doctor. And she started to cry and things like that. And she was crying because she said that our parents knew that she wanted to become a doctor, but they could not afford, like they couldn't afford for her to study to become a doctor. And she just really wanted to become a doctor. And so it was very heartbreaking. But for me, being the eldest child, I understood where my parents were coming from. I understood what they were going through at that time, but I also knew that there were so many situations in their lives that could have been different, meaning that they could have done better, you know. But we as children sometimes don't understand what our parents go through and things like that. So we like just, we just assume that we know everything that's going on. But since that day of me seeing her like that, it woke something in me. And I started to think about, excuse me, I started to think about myself. I started to think about my child. And I was thinking to myself, I don't ever want my child to say that, oh, my mother, she knew my dream and she could, and she never did anything about it. I don't ever want that to happen. Although sometimes it's beyond our control as people, as human beings, it is beyond our control. But I'm here to tell you that there is solutions. There are solutions. So for me, what I did at that time, I tried a few things, right? I was working for a car dealership from home and I was making some money there and things like that. But those monies never lasted. It was monies that like ended up running me from month to month. So eventually I joined other investment companies and they ran away with our monies. And at that point in time, I thought that I was going to give up, but I didn't. I said to myself that I've got to keep pushing and I've got to keep going, because if I don't, a normal day to day, a normal job for me being a person who never got to go and study or any of those kind of things, or never went to go and study. I'm not going to say never got to go and study, because if your parent cannot afford to pay for your studies, it doesn't mean that you can't afford it. It means that you as a person can choose to go and study. But I was more into food, cooking, baking, bakery things, and all those kind of things. And that's what I did. I opened my own home bakery, and I did work in a lot of places, but the monies, I could never save those monies, because whatever I was earning was not high enough in order to run the household with my husband, and also be able to pay for, also be able to not pay, but to be able to save monies for my daughter's future. Okay, so so when I came across Prestige Wealth, I said, you know what, I don't have the money to join it, but I will make a way, right? And that's what I did. And but before I did that, I did so much of research that I found that it was a legitimate company, and that I was, it was my second chance now, of being able to save or put away those monies for her. And that is what I did, guys. I bought that package. I grew myself. I didn't just come on there. I didn't just buy a package and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna put the 6,000 Rand package, get this 18,000, and yeah, I'm excited. No, because 18,000 Rands is nothing. If I buy a package for 6,000 Rand and just buy an 18,000 Rand package, that's not gonna do anything for me, for my whole future. But what I can say is that there is power in that 6,000 Rands, because that 6,000 Rands allowed me who couldn't afford anything, it allowed me to earn over 100,000 rands a month. It allowed me to buy VIP packages. VIP package, I think I bought like packages over 300,000 now in Prestige Wealth Investments. It allowed me to buy shares, right? And shares is something, and it's not even, the shares were not even that expensive, the ones that I bought. I just bought for up to 40,000 rands. It was 10,000 rand shares. I bought one for myself, one for my husband, one for my daughter, and there was an extra one that I bought because they were closing the shares off. So I just rushed and bought that extra one just in case. But those shares, do you know, even those shares alone on Prestige Wealth Investment, it will pay out anywhere between 15,000 and 250,000 per month when it starts paying out. So I have created wealth for our future. That's what I did. And with regards to my investments, though even those monies will also grow, and I will also continue to grow and prosper on there. I will also grow those packages. I can multiply it and continue on it, and it can be monies to run the month, and it can be monies for studying, it can be monies for whatever the case is. But that's where I'm at. And I just wanted to tell you that, you know what? We can plan for the future. We can plan, and we can make the changes that and give our kids the future that we didn't have, right? Even if we are in situations where we are completely broke, there are ways around it. And I'm saying that because I have been there. I have been there. And in that time that I bought my first package in Prestige Wealth Investments, I didn't even have bread. I did not even have anything to cook that week. I did not even know where the next cent was going to come. But I made a plan in that week. I bought a package, and months after that, within that same month, I was already earning. And months after that, I grew myself up to earning over 100,000 a month. Guys, don't give up. Don't give up. Do your due diligence on the company. Build yourself up as an affiliate. There are legitimate things that can give you a very, very high income, that can change your life, and that can change your family's lives.